Good evening, teacher. My name is Andres Castells Perez, and I'm going to be talking about cooperative learning. So, specifically, what is cooperative learning? It's a process of breaking a classroom of students into small groups. They can be pairs or groups of three, four, and five. They can discover new topics, they can explore different activities, and in the meantime, they are going to be helping each other. So because it's based on group work, it's really much more than that. The idea of having different students with different roles inside a group will give them like a sense of responsibility and like a sense of accomplishment depending on the activity. Roles can be very simple and at the same time can be very complex. So that is why the roles should be thought carefully in order to make the best out of students. The core or the main essence of cooperative learning is to, in some way, show this interdependence, the idea of two students working, two, three, four students working simultaneously in order to fulfill the activity. Okay, so in comparative learning, this happens in a way it happens naturally. Some of the students might be really close friends, and some of the students might only be classmates. But the idea that you can rely, the students know that they can rely on each other, will give them like a maybe like a sense of relief, knowing that they have to do their part, and obviously at some point they have to worry about making sure that their peers and the other members of the group also did their parts. One one big advantage that people mention when doing cooperative learning is the idea that they are interacting, they are socially interacting. So maybe the shy students need to talk, need to express their ideas, their emotions, and maybe they want to participate because they feel comfortable in the group. Some other students might feel even more shy, but that really depends on the group. As a teacher, it is our duty to supervise and to motivate all of the groups and all of the members of the group in order to make a fantastic job. As a way to sum this up and as a way to summarize everything that I mentioned, I want to talk about a couple of advantages and at the same time disadvantages, because it's really important to know what may be the flaws of this type of activity. Some of the advantages are that students engage among themselves. So in other words, if a student doesn't know a word because it's a bit advanced for him or her, other students can, give a hand and explain the word in a way that maybe it's easier for them. Sometimes students learn easier among themselves than with us, because maybe they are a bit nervous or anxious when we are teaching them or correcting them or giving them feedback. Group work reward, like I mentioned before, is the idea that students will do and accomplish different activities, and like I said before, it will give the group a sense of accomplishment. And to be honest, who doesn't like working in groups, especially if you can work with classmates or better yet, with friends? And the final disadvantages of everything that I mentioned is that students have to work in groups, and some of them might do an incomplete job, or maybe some of the other members will think for a fact that the other members are bound to complete their part even if they don't finish that. So we as teachers, we cannot let that happen. And finally, sometimes in group work, some students may have a role inside the group that does not fully represent a hard or complete work. That is why, like I said at the beginning, roles have to be thought carefully in order to give according to the complexity, or maybe according to the level of the students inside the group. And because of the attention that you brought to me and for everything that you have done for us, I want to thank you, teacher, and I'll see you later. Good night.